Right, so there is one hormone that is the most important hormone for men, and that is testosterone. So in this video, we are going to be talking about what testosterone is, why you need more of it in your life most likely, how you can go about this, and what to expect from the changes in your life when you have high testosterone. So let's get into this. Now, first of all, what is testosterone? Testosterone is the male hormone, right? You've got estrogen, which is the female hormone, and testosterone, which is the male hormone. Now, testosterone, when you get your bloods done, right, you've got total testosterone levels, and these levels have actually decreased by 50% since 1970 due to lifestyle, due to what we consume, right, physically and also mentally. So you've got the total testosterone level, and then you've got free testosterone. Now, total testosterone is all the testosterone in your body. Free testosterone is the testosterone that your body actually uses. Both are extremely important, and there is a third hormone called DHT. I won't go into that too much, but it's basically the expression of testosterone, and that also needs to be high and well nurtured. So what can you expect from life, from how you feel, how you look when you have high testosterone as a man? Now, the first thing, right, is energy. You will have high energy levels. Right, a lot of you have no idea what true high energy is. You might have energy spurts when you have an energy drink or a bit of caffeine, but you're not consistently high energy throughout the day from dusk till dawn, right? And that is how you should be. You should constantly feel like getting stuff done, like you have energy for anything. And that also ties into motivation. A lot of you feel demotivated. That lack of motivation is also coming from low testosterone, right? It's biological. When testosterone is high, effort feels good. Therefore, when it's low, it's the complete opposite. Anything that requires effort, risk, or any level of, well, effort, right, whether it's mental, physical, is going to feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. And that keeps a lot of guys stuck for years in of itself. And then you've got the physiology side, so the fat loss and the muscle gain. Now, when testosterone is high, your body will burn fat so much easier, and it will also put on muscle so much easier. This is why when so many guys focus on the calorie tracking and all these other aspects, but their hormones are fucked, they just don't see the progress they want. It's why a guy like me can live for 2 years and look better than guys who I can look better than guys who live for 8 years, because their hormones are fucked. They've still got body fat, they're still losing muscle really quick because they don't have good hormones, good insulin sensitivity, all of those things, right? And then also confidence in your decisions. When you've got low testosterone, you will sit in a room and feel like the quietest man in the room. You don't want to be noticed. You might not take the lead on things, whether it's in those situations with friends or whether it's with your wife, with your family, your girlfriend, your kids. You're not going to feel like you've got that razor sharp leadership mentality. But when you've got high testosterone, high DHT, that is like you feel super confident in what you say, what you do, and you just become the man. And then obviously you've got metabolism. So a faster metabolism comes with high testosterone. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh, but I'm a hard gainer. I don't want a faster metabolism. There's actually a myth around that, right? You might be born with a faster metabolism naturally, but the reason you can't gain muscle isn't because of the metabolism. It's because of testosterone levels and hormones. When you have a fast metabolism and good testosterone, your body will use those nutrients and put them into muscle gain, provided you're doing the right training. Right? So if anything, the fast metabolism is just a blessing. It means it's much harder to gain fat. So how do you build the foundations of high testosterone in your life? This is where obviously everyone gets it wrong. So it comes down to 4 pillars, right? You've got diet, sleep, training, and lifestyle. Excuse me. So with the diet, the main thing is that you need to be eating lots of red meat. Right, red meat is super important. This is why vegans, vegetarians struggle with testosterone. Right, statistically, a lot of them have lower testosterone than they should because of that. Now, red meat is by far the most nutritious meat on the planet. Better than chicken, better than fish. It's got more cholesterol, more saturated fats, more amino acids, more B vitamins, more creatine, collagenous tissue. And all of those things stack up. So that's why you should eat red meat every day. It doesn't have to be steak and fancy cuts of meat. It can be beef mince, which in ways is better because you've got more collagenous tissue. So that's a benefit. And you should also be eating root vegetables and fruit. So for root vegetables, I'm talking onions, beetroots, carrots. You don't have to have loads of them, but if you want vegetables and variety in your diet, I have them for like volume foods, for adding to beef mince and stuff. I have the carrots for the beta carotene and the skin health. And that does wonders, as opposed to cruciferous vegetables, which like broccoli, leafy greens, all of those things just inflames your gut. It's not very nice either. It tastes like shit for a reason. Okay, And then most importantly, carbohydrates. And this is where my method differs a lot from carnivores and primal bros and all of that, because they will say to avoid carbs, but it's completely stupid, right? Carbs signal abundance to your body. And testosterone is created at its highest amount in situations of low stress, high abundance. So because carbs upregulate everything, they upregulate your thyroid, they upregulate your whole system, your metabolism, your muscle growth, everything. When you eat the right carbs, your testosterone and DHT will also increase. Not to mention, not to get too scientific here, but you literally need the conversion of thyroid hormone into 5A reductase, which comes from natural sugars, right? And that is what gives high DHT levels. So eating only meat, for most of you, is just going to stress you out. It's going to be hard to maintain, and is going to spike your cortisol. It's just not worth it, right? Why would you cut out the carbs? If people say, oh, but carbs give you brain fog and whatnot, it's because they're eating the wrong carbs, or they're eating it at the wrong time, or they haven't become fully metabolically flexible or insulin sensitive. Carbs are fantastic, and they're needed if you want the highest testosterone. Now, in terms of sleep, you want to get 7 to 9 hours, right? You can have the odd night where you get less, maybe 6 hours, but it's not the end of the world. Point being, you don't want to do it consistently. But the main thing about sleep is the sleep cycles. So you should set a time to go to bed, 10:30 ideally, right? Or any time before 11 o'clock. And that is going to improve your deep sleep and REM sleep. You can sleep 8 hours, but if you sleep from 2 a.m. onwards, you're going to struggle, right? You want to be going to bed when the sun sets or around the time that the sun sets. And one thing I like to do is sleep either 7.5 hours or 9 hours, because in each of those windows, you're doing exactly 5 or 6 sleep cycles. Rather than sleeping 9 hours, rather than sleeping 8 hours or 7 hours, you will wake up during those times in the middle of a sleep cycle. And that is when you feel more groggy, your morning cortisol is higher, and you have to drag yourself out of bed. It doesn't make a huge difference, that, but it is something that's worth noting if you want to have good starts to your mornings. And deep sleep and REM sleep is when your body does the most recovery, so you need to be getting those. Now, in terms of training, this is another thing that everyone fucks up. They train way too much, they do too much high volume and too much stress on their body, right? You should be doing low volume, 6 to 8 reps in the gym, heavy weights, progressive overload, getting bigger and stronger, right? I like not too much hypertrophy movement, more so myofibrillar hypertrophy rather than sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. That's very scientific, but it's basically strength rather than bodybuilding. Although you can do the bodybuilding side, you just need to do it in a different way. So you also want to avoid catabolic exercise, too much running, like HIIT training, intense cardio, stuff that breaks down muscle mass and spikes your cortisol and hunger levels way up here, when in reality your refuel level is actually here. So a lot of time people end up overeating. They end up then worsening their hormones, so that fuel that's overeaten goes into fat stores, and it's a mess. That's why so many runners never lose fat. You see these guys that just run all the time. They never get ripped. Yeah, a guy like me walks and lifts 3 times a week and gets in fantastic shape. Same with my clients. And the most important thing is that you don't overtrain, right? People will train 5, 6, 7 days a week at the gym. Why? What is the point in lifting that often? Right, your recovery is going to be worse. You probably feel more fucked in each session. If you do the 3 sessions a week, you're going to have better sessions. You're going to look forward to them more. You're going to recover better, so your body can actually build the muscle properly. And you don't need to stress out thinking I need to train all week long. That's where a lot of guys go wrong. And finally, the lifestyle, right? So sunlight is important. I know for a lot of us in the UK, we don't have sun all year round. So in the winter, I would recommend supplementing vitamin D, eating more eggs, which are high in vitamin D as well. And also, you would still use the sun in the winter. Even though it's behind clouds, you're still actually getting vitamin D. You're not going to walk around with your shirt off because it's probably going to be cold. But when the light hits your eyes, it helps your circadian rhythm, and it still helps your body produce serotonin and vitamin D. So it still matters, right? You want to be getting sunlight at the times that you should. Limiting caffeine, so I'm not saying cut it out. I still have 2 to 3 coffees a day, but I have them before 3 p.m. and I typically don't have them on an empty stomach. If I do, I might have a bit of butter with it to slow down the digestion so it doesn't spike your cortisol too much. But caffeine can be really good, you just don't want to overuse it. And reducing stress through meditation and other practices, right? This is, it seems a bit abstract that I do this, but at the end of the day, I'm not just coaching guys on their fitness, I'm coaching you on improving your life in almost every aspect, and testosterone is a gateway, it spills into all those things, and one of the best things you can do is meditate. Become mindful. I'm a Christian, so I pray as well. The closer I get with God, the less I have to worry about stuff, and the less I worry about stuff, the more life feels easy. Stress is low, testosterone is higher, like I make better decisions, the right decisions easier, it just all adds up. And you've got to learn to love the lifestyle, which I'm going to cover more in the next slide. So that is why this method works best, right? Starting with why you enjoy the lifestyle. You enjoy the lifestyle, it becomes part of you. Whereas you look at the average conventional fitness method, you've got to force the lifestyle, track your calories, go in the gym all week long. You go from nothing to suddenly becoming a runner or becoming a crossfitter, and then you just fall off again because you have to keep forcing yourself to do it. It doesn't feel part of you, and it's not sustainable in that sense, right? Same with like cheat meals. You have to plan your cheat meals on these other methods, and the only reason you need a cheat meal is because you don't enjoy the diet. Whereas with this, you enjoy the diet, you enjoy the lifestyle. And the same with the coaching, right? So my coaching, I have guys work with me for a maximum period of a year. And the idea is that after that year, you know what you're doing, right? You are a new man with new habits. The guy that shows up for himself, the guy that like keeps his word, that sticks to plans, that doesn't have to worry about whether he's going to stick to it or not. You don't hope, you just know. You know it happens and it happens, right? That's what happens with my coaching. Whereas most coaches, they charge you monthly, you pay them forever and ever. It's cheap, it's comfortable, and you just end up not changing and pissing away money over time because you're not actually becoming a different person. You're just paying someone to do your macros for you, count your calories for you, while you still battle and wrestle with those habits and bad inclinations, bad hormones every day. So the training part as well, with what I do, with what we would do, right? You lift heavy. Who doesn't like lifting weights? Everyone loves lifting weights, right? There's a quote by Ronnie Coleman, which I think is wrong. He says, everyone wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to lift heavy weights. I disagree. Everyone loves lifting heavy weights. It's satisfying, you feel good, you get a pump, but no one wants to fucking focus on their diet and hormones. That's where it's wrong. That's where most people go wrong. Whereas you look at the conventional fitness methods, you've got to do endless HIIT training. You've got to do loads of cardio, loads of running in the gym 5 times a week. And by the time you've done 2 weeks of it, after, not doing much or being a grown man with actual life responsibility, kids, business, work, you just don't want to do it anymore and you fall off. Right? Whereas with this, you're actually doing less training, less like high volume, you get to just walk, you feel good, you enjoy the training and you have clear goals, it's easy. Why would you not want to do it? And it actually is beneficial, right? More training doesn't benefit you when it comes to this. And then it comes to the diet, right? With other methods, like I mentioned earlier, you've got 20% cheat meals. Meanwhile, the other 80% is actually dead boring. Chicken, salads, like plain old yogurt bowls. You can't really have sugar with a lot of like things out there like Slimming World or Weight Watchers. They're very restrictive and stuff, and everything becomes a bit bland, a bit like forced, and the whole time you're doing it you want to do something else. Whereas with this, you want to live the lifestyle. I don't need cheat meals when I can eat healthy ice cream. Haagen-Dazs vanilla is healthy ice cream. I can eat dark chocolate and raw honey. I can eat buttered dates. I can have maple syrup with my Greek yogurt bowls. Turns it into like a dessert, but it's super good for you with fruit. You don't need cheat meals when you have that, right? What grown man can't live off steak, eggs, fruit, Greek yogurt bowls, ice cream, dark chocolate, all of these delicious things, honey, right? You don't need cheat meals when you've got that, and that's why you learn to love it. Which then ties into the next thing, which is the enjoyment, right? You've got a diet you enjoy, you've got a lifestyle you enjoy, you feel good. It doesn't make you feel depleted like other diets do. This is actually increasing your energy and up-regulating everything. It's better in every single category. And then ultimately the results. You're doing all this, you're enjoying the process, and now your fat loss is faster, your muscle gain is faster because your hormones are doing the right thing. They're actually doing what they're supposed to do. How do you think your ancestors, how do you think men living in like third world countries who are ripped, how do you think they get in shape? They're not in the gym all week long tracking calories and doing all this stuff. They're just taking peptides and whatnot. They're living naturally. And this is what happens. This is what your body wants. But the other fitness methods, it's slow, you've got to do all this work, you don't see really fast results, and then you lose motivation. It's just a nightmare. So all of these things are things that will be covered in my coaching. I have had clients sign up and completely change their life, right? Within the space of 3 months, 6 months, or a year, they've gone from someone who doesn't know what they're doing, skinny fat, overweight, skinny, whatever it is, low testosterone, to reaching their full potential. Becoming the type of men that show up for themselves, that stick to their word and can do it forever. Okay? Now, if you're serious about making a change, there is a link in the description to book a discovery call with me. It's free of charge. The whole idea is that we have a quick chat. I want to see where your situation is, what your mindset's like, whether you're willing to actually make a change, and how we would work, right? See if it's a good fit. Because for some of you, right, you may have been stuck in the same position for 5-10 years. And if you're saying you just want free content, which, okay, you're perfectly entitled to do that, but let me ask you, where has that been taking you? Has free content got you the results you want? Has it transformed your life? Probably not. For a lot of guys, they watch free content for 5-10 years and nothing actually changes, because guess what? You're still in your comfort zone. You're still not dealing with the real problems, which is the lack of structure. You don't know what you're fully doing. Your hormones aren't dialed in. You always lose momentum. You start doing something, it works, and then it's the wrong method. You're confused. You're pulled between other methods. It's all a mess, right? And if you're serious about locking in, you don't want any of those things. And the clients that have worked with me, they get to a point where they're serious and they're cutting through all the bullshit and saying, no, Angus, I want your help because I am sick and tired of running off guesswork, right? And I need to reach my potential. So if that's you, book a call and we will see if it's a good fit. And obviously the only people that have access to this are you guys watching this video, or anyone who's currently having active conversations with me on Instagram to see if you need help or not. So yeah, if you found this useful, let me know. I'm glad you've watched it, and make sure you keep up with the rest of my content. I won't be doing loads and loads of these free videos, right? But I do it to help you guys out and also obviously guide you towards what I do, because at the end of the day, I want to help more of you. I want to get paid for it. I want to change as many men's lives as I possibly can. And I'm sure a lot of you guys want to be part of that. So I appreciate you all. Stay tuned and I will see you on the next video.